Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. How is everybody doing? That was a misclick. That was a misclick. We are not doing full screen today. Where are all my camera stuff? Here it is. There we are. Awesome. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful morning. It is a beautiful morning. Welcome in. CPI data live right now in the pre-market session, and it is frothy, right? It is a frothy morning here on this Friday. What a Friday! What an opening session here in the pre-market. We have a lot to go over. Where the hell is everybody? Let's get going. I want to wait till we get to at least 600 people, and then we're gonna move, and we're gonna move fast. We are gonna move fast. Rav is not here. Rav is not here. Rav is not here. Rav is still sleeping this morning. Just me. It's just me. I wasn't gonna come either. I was gonna call out, but I decided to hop on with you guys. I'll explain why. I will explain why. My dog is snoring in the background. Let me wake the dog up. Hold on 1 second. All right. All right. Let's jump into it. So yesterday's session, obviously, what is going on here, right? What is going on here? Okay, craziness in the pre-market session, supply rejections yesterday. The 570 pop and fade worked until it didn't, right? It basically was your initial opening bell rejection off the 570 supply, 570 supply, 50. Wait a second, no longer supply anymore. Now demand, right? It was supply, it was supply, it was supply. Oh shit, now demand. Now upside came into our close yesterday. In the pre-market session, we are getting some frothy data. The frothy data leading to some frothy upside, and now the market is at all-time highs in the pre-market session. We are at all-time highs in the pre-market session. But is the ES at all-time highs? That's the question. Look at ES chart, and you're going to find something out very important. Yes, it is, right? Yes, it is. ES has broken the all-time highs here, and the market is ripping. Okay, so we'll talk about this. We have some individual names to watch today, AMD being one of them. Look at the AMD chart. Take a second, look at AMD. AMD looks incredible, right? I mean, just a beautiful structure here that's creating 243 as your pivot. Let's watch this today. Yesterday, there were some rejections. You could have traded the rejections yesterday, but today's session is no longer about those. This is no longer about those 235 rejections anymore, right? Sure, there was some rejections off the supply, but now we broke it above supply, and now we're at a next level here, right? So we'll talk about this here on AMD in a few minutes. We'll go over Meta, we'll go over Apple, we'll go over Tesla. Tesla back at the channel high. What's going on here? Tesla is of interest, okay? Let's discuss this in a minute as well. Guys, what I want to do is I want to go over econ data quickly, then dive into our earnings reports. We are going to go faster than we've ever had before. The reason why is because we have a lot to go over on the Friday. Usually we don't go over a lot on Fridays, but today we are, because today there are a lot of moving parts here in the pre-market session. So strap yourselves in, put yourselves in 0.75 speed if you need to, but if you can, leave it the way it is. So today's session, 8:30 a.m., CPI data in the pre-market session. That was about 6 minutes ago, and we have PMI composite in about an hour and change, right? So about an hour and 10 minutes or so, we have our PMI composite. Besides that, we have new home sales at 10 a.m. and consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. Now, in terms of our data came out today. Obviously, our CPI data has come out, and the CPI data is as follows. I wonder if we have it on I have it here on my Thinkorswim, but what I want to do is I want to pull it up here on the Market Watch just so we have a visual here, and you're going to see where is our consumer price index. The expectations, median forecast was 0.4%, okay? And the previous was 0.4%, the actual 0.3, okay? So slightly better Then expectations here for CPI, for the Consumer Price Index. Okay, market is liking it. Market is moving up higher, obviously in reaction to the CPI data, right? Now, what else do we have here? We have core CPI, core CPI also under expectations, which is good. I mean, obviously, this is a broad-based beat in your CPI data, causing some upside on the overall market. Okay. Now, what other data do we have today? You guys already know it. It's right there in front of you. I'm not going to repeat myself there because we already know that already. Okay. On the earnings docket for today's session, the big one was INTC. You guys know something, right? We loaned INTC at $20 per share. I am probably going to be a profit taker this morning, right? I'll take some more profit on INTC and I'll keep trailing my position out because INTC is a name that was more of a position trade for me. So INTC rocking, I was a little bit anxious about that yesterday, but it turned out to be a nice one into this earnings session. Okay, Procter & Gamble pre-market, PAG, that's all we have for the week. Next week is a new earnings season. We'll discuss that as we get there. In terms of econ data for next week, very briefly, I want to talk about this. Next week is going to be incredibly important. Okay, the reason why it's incredibly important is because we have our FOMC rate decision next week on Wednesday, the 29th. So we have a big week ahead of us. So what does that mean for today? If you had a good week Monday to Thursday, if you had a good week Monday to Thursday, and you're all horned up, ready to 9:31 in the morning, ready to execute trades today, right? Think smart, right? Think smart because the market's hot. Everything's going crazy here in the pre-market. But you know what? Probably take a second this morning. Take a second this morning, maybe size down a little bit lower than you usually do because the market is going to be hot next week. There's a lot of big things happening next week. And today's session should be just a finisher, right? This should be a little dessert, right? Here's what you don't do, right? You don't go to a Michelin star restaurant. You don't have a nice little meal. You have a first course, your second course, your third course, right? You're nice and full, right? And then you go to dessert and you order 5 desserts, right? You don't do that. You get yourself a little chocolate mousse, right? And that's it. You go home and you enjoy your night. That's all you're gonna do, right? Today's session is precisely that. Are you gonna load up on 5 different desserts into our dinner? No, right? You're gonna have a little nice dessert and you're going to finish off the week strong. And I think this Friday in particular is a classic example. I've seen this happen 100 times over because it's happened to me 120 times, right? I've had a beautiful week Monday to Thursday, and then Friday, market's hot, market's crazy. I'm long Tesla 9:34 in the morning, and I get slapped in the face with the textbook. So today's session, we're going to talk about where the market is because the market is hot this morning, but it doesn't mean we go full port. Okay, so let's talk about the first ticker today's session, SPY. What is going on here in the morning? Okay, let's jump into it. We have 790 people here in the pre-market. 790 people here in the pre-market, and out of those 790, we have approximately 245 likes. Guys, get the like count up. Let's discuss. Let's move into our first chart today's session. Okay, so yesterday, right? What was our analysis yesterday? Yesterday's analysis was all about the 670s, right? We basically said in the pre-market session, we said this. We said if you are looking for anything in this pre-market session after a big move down on Wednesday, your main watch should be, hey, do we form some rejections here at the 670? Okay, we had 670 as your key level of a resistance, right? Resistance here, which turned into a breakout. We had a low here on Tuesday, and then a level here in Wednesday session, okay? So basically, yesterday's session, if you guys came to the pre-market, this is exactly what we said. We said the market is weak, right, in the pre-market session, and if we're gonna do anything, we must form a lower high right there. That's what we said in the pre-market session. And then at approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, me, Mike, and Rav, right, waited for the market to pop. The market popped, and you're gonna see this. The market popped into our level right over here, and the market did what? The market faded off supply, almost perfectly faded off supply. We got to move from 670.5 to 668 and change, a beautiful trade. And this was your one and done yesterday session. Now, eventually, the market did what? The market ended up going back and testing that level once. Okay, you can see once it tapped it again, and then we saw one rejection there. And then again, it did it again a third and fourth time, right? And then again, eventually, what happens is, just like we always say, when you have a level of resistance like this, or a support, doesn't matter what it is, the more times you tap that level, the more likely it is to break. If you guys recall on live, people were making fun of me because at the end of live trading, I said, guys, I think there's an 80% chance market sees highs today. And I shouldn't have said that because then everyone full ported longs, but it worked, right? You can see that the market did actually push highs, and I was short off the open, right? You guys know I was short off the open. Then at one point, you can kind of see the market is doing what? Bam, 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 bam. It's basically knocking at that door, and it's giving you it's giving you all the means required for an upside break. Why? Because you have all those shorts shorting the highs, shorting the highs, shorting the highs, shorting the highs, right? All the late shorts in the market get disciplined, right? And they get disciplined because they're over shorting a market that's still at resistance, but has tapped it too many times and has held structure. And that's what happened yesterday, right? Eventually, you see a squeeze over highs here and then enter what is called a zombie grind in the market, which caused upside rally into 673. But this is actually a textbook day, right? This is a textbook day where the market just maintained levels. It rejected initially, but then built up of oversupply and caused some squeezes. Now, where are we this morning? Well, this morning we are now oversupply. We are over the supply zone 670, and we are over the 673 all-time highs. And now we are frothy, right? That's just simply what it is this morning, right? We are obviously moving up higher because the market has trapped all the shorts yesterday under 670, and now we are back up bullish again above the 673. And in my opinion, it's not even just 673, but it's actually these all-time highs here. It's between 673 and 674, right? So this is your previous all-time highs here. So we must make that adjustment, right? The adjustment today's session is simply this. This is your key level, right? This is your key level today's session, your key demand zone, and that's just what it is, right? If we are above this level, if we are above 673, we're bullish. If we lose 673, we're bearish, right? So my mindset this morning is to see this, is to see, do we hold here at the bounce area, or do we fail back below it and see a trap buyer scenario and a downside move? I've seen both scenarios play out during CPI days. So let's watch and see what happens here. But this is just what it is, right? You have your demand zone below us, 673. If we are above that level, we're bullish. If we are below this level, we're bearish. If we fail below 673, I think we go back into 670. There's a good short there. If we maintain 673, 674 today, that's the previous all-time high test. You can see the previous all-time high test, in which case we probably just maintain and go higher in the market, right? This is just a very simple way of analyzing the data here in the pre-market session. Now, granted, you don't have to trade SPY if you don't want to, right? But this should be your bias here. And obviously, you have the SPY chart moving up higher here, following our CPI data, right? We were just over the supply zone here into our before our data, but now after data, we are well above that because of the CPI data release, right? So just be aware of these things, right? Demand zone below, and then if we are above yesterday's highs, we are bullish, okay? If you want to be smart today, you could probably do this. Like, you could probably look to see, you see how I have 673.2 as a level here? Well, I see it, right? But you may want to drag it down all the way to yesterday's highs here on SPY, right? Because I think like a classic thing that could happen today is you could see us fail back below our demand zone, right, just into yesterday's highs, and then do this, and this would be the long entry, right? So if I were to trade anything today here alongside on SPY, it would actually be this, right? It would be a liquidity grab under our 673, pull back to previous day high, Thursday's highs here, and then develop a long there at 673 for upside trade, right? So this would be my top watch for longs. My top watch for shorts would just be a breakdown under PDH, right? If we lose PDH, then I'm no longer interested in going long in the market anymore, and we probably fail back lower into the 670s, so I can look for a move down in the market, right? So this is your view here, okay? Again, you don't have to trade this opening session here, but that's what I'd be watching if I were trading the opening session, okay? On the ES chart, let's dive into ES quickly here. So ES, I think, is even more clear, okay? And why do I say that? Because you have your previous all-time highs here at 6,800 ES, but under 6,800 ES, you have another level here at 6,788. You have two levels of demand today, okay? And it's just simply that, right? You have your PDH here, which is 6,785, and then you have your big demand here at 6,800. So you have demand zone number one and your demand zone number two. Now, I would say this: your biggest bull bear pivot this morning is going to be 6,785. If we are above this level here, we are bullish. If we are below this level here, we are bearish. That's your bull bear pivot. If we lose this level, downside. If you hold this level, upside. I think if you are long today, you're probably looking to see, can we get a pullback to the PDH, 67.85. That would be your top watch for longs. Your top watch for shorts would be the same thing, but the opposite side, right? Just looking to see, can we break down under this level for a downside move, right? That's what it is. Yesterday's session was a great session off the supplies of rejections. Today's session, let's see what happens here as we are now above that supply. Okay, QQQ on the Qs chart. Qs, you can see on the QQQ, 608 rejections yesterday, 610 rejections yesterday, but then finally we got back above 610, right? And so the end of the story was 610 turning into support, right? That's how we closed the session yesterday, was 610 maintaining into close. And now we are gapping above this level in the pre-market session. And what can we do now, right? So if you look back at here on the 15-minute time frame, you're going to see here that we are also above the all-time highs here. And there's a very clear level here, right? You have a very clear level here at 613, 613, 613, 613. Now, is this level too obvious? There are some people who will say this, right? There are some people who are going to say, Brett, the 613 is way too obvious. If you look for longs at 613, it's probably going to fail 613 because it's such an obvious level, and it'll pull back to the PDH 611.50 and then develop a bounce there and then give you the rip. I think that that's a little speculative, but if I'm trading Qs today, that's what I would be looking for, right? I know 613 is demand. I see it. You guys see it. I see it. Obviously, this is a level, right? I think anybody with a chart and a trading view a subscription can tell you, hey, 613 is your demand today. And it's not very difficult to see that, right? But the thing is, where's your long? Well, your long is at 613, right? If you see us develop a hold here at 613, that's your long. Likewise, your secondary long is going to be your pullback to 611.50, which is the PDH today. If we do pull back the PDH, that's your top watch for longs today. So long one, long two. And where does the market fail today? If the market does flip-flop, because you guys have seen it, I've seen it, right? We've been here, how long have you been on YouTube? I've been doing these pre-market Zooms on Zoom first, then on YouTube. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been here for over probably 3 years, I think, of these pre-markets. We've seen this happen so many times where we have a big, frothy CPI day, a firework in the sky. Everyone's looking at the firework, ready to long demand, and then it does this. So I think today's session, we have to be prepared for both sides. If the market does fail below the PDH today, 611.50, I am no longer interested in going long today. That's just simply what it is, okay? Your level here on the Qs, in my opinion, should be adjusted to 611.50. If we break under 611.50, then I think that we are no longer in this bull sentiment. We probably fail back lower into 602.50. And it's a Friday. It's a 0 to E session. This could happen, right? So we have to be aware of kind of where our bull bear pivot is. We are bullish if this happens. We are bearish if this happens, because then we should see downside today's session, right? That is what I'm looking for going into our pre-market here on the Qs chart, right? Let's move on, guys. Let's move on. I want to move over to some other charts today. Let's go over to the first ticker today's session. Let's go over Nvidia, okay? So Nvidia, I am very happy about how we analyze this on our pre-market yesterday session. If you guys recall, what did we say? We shorted this on Wednesday, right? We shorted this on Wednesday here, right? We got the short over here on Wednesday session. We sold there-ish, right? And then going into our Thursday session, we said, you know what? We are no longer interested in going short anymore on Nvidia. Why? Because it's holding a critical demand zone. And now all it's done is move off demand and go back into supply. The question here this morning is, does Nvidia have the juice to break above supply? Because we haven't really done anything yet, right? You may think yesterday's session was a nice upside move. And I agree, it was a nice upside move, but it's not of substance, right? Think of it like this. If you have an upside move, like this, for example, big upside move, and it looks juicy, it looks strong, and you look at it, like go to replay here, look at this chart right now. You would say this chart looks incredibly strong. I would say so too, right? Wow, it looks incredibly strong. But contextually, it's strong in a supply, okay? And strong in a supply means nothing, because at the end of the day, supply is still supply. And if we fail here, which it did, it no longer is strong anymore, would you say, right? So if I'm looking for anything here today on Nvidia, I see the strength here in the pre-market, but contextually, it is just in supply, right? So look to see if we can break and hold above the supply zone 184, because if we do, that's where we get the big upside. But as of this morning, we are just simply at supply, and we are likely going to fade here, right? So look to see if we can do this. If that happens, upside, or if we fail here, then we're going back down lower, right? No intention to short Nvidia. I'm not shorting Nvidia today, but what I would do is look for longs or the highs if it does happen. 184 breaks, upside, okay? That is Nvidia. Moving on, AMD. AMD, we spoke about downside yesterday. We spoke about the 235 rejections being the top watch. And if you notice something, you say, Brett, wow, you must be crazy. Look at how strong AMD was yesterday. Well, yeah, it was true. AMD was strong yesterday, but look at the intraday, and you're going to see that the 235 actually did result in some good downside. You're going to see here that we did actually see some supply rejections here at 235, but eventually things do flip, right? You see rejections off the 235 once, right? Downside, 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 but eventually what happens here is when you knock so many times, they're going to open up the door, and it did open up, and you did see upside in the close, right? This was a nice upside trade yesterday. It was a good rejection at first, but then it flipped into a bull side move. And that's what's going on here on the AMD chart here in this pre-market session. And now, what can we do here in AMD? Well, if I'm watching for anything today here in AMD, it's just like Nvidia, okay? Contextually, okay, well, we're strong here, right? We are strong here on AMD's chart. And if you look at AMD's chart, it's been strong here before. Look at this chart right now. You would say this chart looks really strong. I would say this chart looks really strong over here as well. Look at this chart, right? Look at this chart right now. It looks really strong. But we are at supply. And if I'm looking for anything today here on AMD, I'm looking to see, can we get back above a supply zone? My supply zone is 243, 243, 243. My top watch today in the market on this beautiful Friday, October 24th is AMD. I'm watching to see, can we get above 243 for longs? If I see us break and hold here on the 243s, I'm looking for an upside trade on the break and retest. This is my top watch today. But again, I am aware that the market's at supply and AMD's at supply. It has to break this level. If it can clear, upside. If it can't, then it probably fails back lower. Look to see if AMD can clear 243 today. Top watch. Bull flag, nice trade, okay? SMH. On the SMH. Notice where the SMH bounced yesterday, okay? So notice something. Our levels are there for a reason. Okay, and they're there to guide you in your trades. And here in the SMH, your guiding principle yesterday was 335, right? This was your big demand zone that we had held on Wednesday session, and we pulled back into it on Thursday session. And what did we do? We flew off this level. We flew off this level, and we didn't see any pullback to it. Okay, so that's what it is today here on the SMH. It's the demand hold. Now we've moved from demand back into an all-time high here in semis, and now semis look really hot. The question this morning is this. It is 347, right? Remember I said this at one point, I said this on Monday session. And if you guys recall Monday session, I think we shorted AMD. I think we shorted AMD on Monday. I can't remember, it was AMD or Nvidia we shorted. But we shorted something on Monday. No, Tuesday, sorry. It was Tuesday we shorted. But the reason why we went short on semis was because we failed back below this level. On today's session, look where we are. We are back above that level that we shorted. So this is bullish, obviously, in semis. Now, what would make us bearish would be if we broke down under 347. This would be your bear side move. But your bull side move is still intact right now because we are obviously above the supply zone. And if you do this today, we're bullish. So this is your bull case thesis. This is your bear case thesis. Right now, we are bullish. And if you recall from Monday's session, if you go back to Monday's session pre-market, I can almost promise you, I said the same thing. I said, you guys are bullish right now, right? But we know one thing. We know that if we did fail below 347, we're back to bearish sentiment. Today's session, if you looked at the semis this morning, right? Well, obviously, everyone's bullish this morning. Okay, I am too. We're all bullish. But if we can fail back below 347, then you have a flip in sentiment, and we can trade downside in semis. So just keep that on the back burner. I know it's far fetched, but these things can happen on a Friday, especially on a Friday with a CPI day and crazy reactions in the pre-market session. In fact, ask yourself this: have you ever seen a CPI on Friday? Have you ever seen a CPI on Friday? I don't think I've ever seen a CPI on Friday because this is a delayed CPI from last week. So this could be an interesting session, right? Let's move on, guys. Let's go over a few more tickers. Let's go over Apple. On the Apple chart, Apple was a demand hold yesterday, right? Apple held 255, it cleared 260, and now we're seeing upside in the pre-market session. As long as Apple is above 260, we're bullish. Look to see if this can maintain here. If this can, look for longs here at your demand for an upside move back in the highs. That's just what it is today here in Apple, okay? 260, above bullish, below bearish. But right now, obviously, looking for us to hold here. If we get a strong closure at the gate here, off the gate here on Apple, I'm looking for a long side move in the next candle for a move back into highs. This is also a top watch today. AMD and Apple are top watches. Apple above 260, look for longs back in all-time highs. Or if we fail below 260, then I'm not going to trade it, right? I'll leave it alone, right? Let's move on. Let's go over a few more. Let's go over Amazon. Amazon 218 held yesterday. This is a name that I think we should not be watching today, right? It's a name that was relatively weak yesterday. It didn't really do much, and even in the pre-market session, it's not moving too much in the pre-market, right? This is a little bit of a slow name, but as long as 218's holding, I wouldn't go short the name either, right? So your bull bear pivot is 218, above bullish, below bearish, but it's not doing much of substance here in the pre-market. So I would say leave this alone. But one that you may not want to leave alone is Tesla, okay? Tesla is strong, and this is probably on a lot of you guys. This is probably a top watch for many of you guys, and I could see why, right? And a lot of it is due to the, wow, Gunny Trades, holy Moses. That is very kind of you, Gunny Trades, much appreciated. Wow, what an absolute gentleman. Gunny Trades, thank you very much. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Much appreciated, man. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, man. That's crazy. Thank you very much. We are doing a big giveaway on Friday next week. Friday next week, $1,000 giveaway. $1,000 giveaway cash to all you guys. I'm excited to see you guys all there. That is insane, Gunny. Much appreciated. Thank you for contributing to that as well. But the only thing I ask for, guys, is, so people were asking how to participate in that. Just show up to the live stream on our Friday session. So Friday, October 31st, it's a Halloween session. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys prefer I give $1,000 to one person? Do you guys prefer I give $100 to 10 people? What's your preference? What do you guys prefer? I was thinking $100 to 10 people, but let me know what you guys think in the chat. One person. Oh, someone just said one person. All right, let's keep going. Let's move on. I'll read the chat as I'm doing this. 10 people, 10 people, 10 people. Yeah, okay, so it's 10 people. Mostly 10 people. There's some people saying 1K, but I think we'll just do 10 people. We'll make it more. We'll be able to cover more people, right? You have a higher chance of winning if it does happen, right? Let's move on. Let's go over fewer takers. Let's go over Target. Okay, so Target is moving higher here. I like Target. I don't even know why I'm going over Target right now, because Target's not a day trade for me. This is a long-term trade. But if you guys know me or have come to the pre-markets, you know I'm in Target. And at this point, I think we go back to 100 at least, right? But this has to start building here, because this is still a weak chart, right? This is still a very weak chart on Target. And ultimately, if this does begin to flip strong, it could go back to 125 plus, right? So this still has a long way to go for me to be back in like a nice. I want to see us back to 125, right? That's what I want to see here in Target. Right now, it's still a little weak, but 100 is your target now. I think it's where it goes to on Target. Okay, let's move on. Let's go a few more. Let's go over Tesla. Yeah, we didn't go over Tesla. We forgot Tesla. I got distracted, guys. All right, let's go over Tesla. On the Tesla chart. So everyone's talking about Tesla this morning. Why? Because look at what it did yesterday, right? Look at what it did. Just a channel high hold. Sorry, channel low hold, right? Basically, you had your channel low here at 415, and we maintained the channel. That's what it was, right? And we moved from channel low to channel high, okay? And in the pre-market session here, we are now at the channel high. So that's what it is, right? We are back at the channel high here on Tesla, and it's a 0 to E Friday session with CPI data being released. I think everyone's watching one level today here in Tesla. They're watching 450, right? If this can build over 450, then obviously this is going to squeeze higher, right? This has been bound up for a long time, and I'm with it, right? Like I said, if this can clear 450, upside today, right? So look for the upside today above 450. This could be a nice watch above highs. Again, though, you don't want to see us back in the channel, though. This is your channel trade, and we go back down lower. This is your bull case scenario, back above 450. So look to see if we can clear 450 today. That's your top watch for longs. If you fail below 445, then we're no longer bullish, and we move back down to channel lows. Okay, so watch Tesla today. This is the firework that everyone's watching, right? This is the firework that everybody's watching here in the pre-market session. Be smart about this one, okay? Look for a strong build over 450 for longs, okay? Let's move on. Let's go over a few more tickers. Let's go over some other names. Guys, type in the chat what you guys want me to go over. I'm happy to go over it. Let's go over a few more. It is 9:01. We have 4 minutes to go over some names here in the pre-market. Let's go over a few more. Meta. So Meta 720. I wish Rav was here. Where's Rav? tell Rav to get on here, right? Because this is Rav's chart. This is not my chart. But I have no intention of trading Meta, and the reason why is because I don't do well trading it, right? That's just what you know what I mean. I will focus on my data. My data says, Brett, don't trade this name, and I don't trade the name. But if you are watching for anything today, I can see supply here, and that's your supply today. Is this? It's just not clear to me. I often lack clarity here, right? I don't see anything, right? I have demand here at 720. I have supply here in this zone between 737 and 740, right? This whole area to me is a don't be long into it zone, right? If I want to look for longs today, I want to see us build above these rejection points, right? These rejection points from earlier this week. Look at the rejection point yesterday, 742. I would want to see us back above that supply, right? I want to see us back above the supply zone. If I do, there is a potential upside trade there. But right now, I'm just trading longs in the supply here. I want to see us clear above highs, and then I can look for a strong build here on Meta. Okay, let's go over a few more, guys. Let's go over Netflix, NFLX, Netflix week. What did we say about Netflix, right? If you guys recall from I think Mike and I were on the horn. I think it was on Tuesday after our earnings was Tuesday or Wednesday, and I said the only watch I'd be watching is 1,100, right? 1,100. Why would I say 1,100? Because if you look at one thing, turn on the daily 200 SMA and look at where this chart's bouncing off of right now. I would not be short Netflix into this daily 200 SMA, right? This is a 1,100 level hold. This is a big 4-hour daily level here, right? But it's also the daily 200 SMA holding up right now on Netflix. So even though it's weak and this chart's moved down a lot lower, I would say be cautious of going, excuse me. Oh man. Be cautious of going short into 1,100. Very big demand zone there, okay? Daily 200 SMA and your 4-hour demand. Okay? SoFi. SoFi is a name that I've been trying to get long into for a while. I want to buy longs on SoFi, but I just unfortunately have not been able to get in yet. My long entry is back at 24. Look how close we've gotten to this level, but I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the moment we get to this level, and that's my long spot, right? So if we pull back to 24, that's the area I'm watching for a long-term entry here in SoFi, and this is my top watch right there. It's right there, okay? Let's go on to Robinhood. Last ticker today, guys. Let's go over Robinhood last ticker. Robinhood chart is actually quite strong. I would look for the 140 build today. 140 build. I actually liked it. For a small cap trader, I like this name today, right? If this can clear 140 on this frothy Friday, then look for longs back in highs. This could be a nice squeezer trade today. Look for 140 build. If it does happen, look for longs back into the 145s and even 150s, right? This could be an interesting trade. What you don't want to do though is you don't want to be long in 140 though. Look for this to clear 140 first. This is where you don't want to be long. Right here is not where you want to be long. But if it clears 140, that's where things become interesting. Guys, that's it for me today. Thank you all for joining in. I will see you guys all for live trading. It is a day that people are going to probably go crazy here. For me, I am sizing the hell down. We had a killer week. Look at this week. I think this week has been one of the best weeks we've had in probably several weeks, right? So take it easy today. If you're green this week, consider trading, but maybe trade at light size, right? That's my sort of 2 cents today. Guys, trade safe, trade smart. I'll see you guys all on the Zoom. Bye, guys.